and welcome to the Pit Stop Sports Carolina Monthly, teaming up with NASCAR to bring you a NASCAR driver each and every week of the 2020 NASCAR season. Today we have Ty Dillon on the line. Ty, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I noticed when I was getting ready for this interview with you today that I didn't realize you're from Louisville, and I'm actually doing this out of Kernersville right now. Louisville is on the, I guess, west of Winston-Salem, you could say, and we were talking about where you went to school and everything else, and just a beautiful area out there. I wanted to touch on first. We'll get to 5 questions with Ty Dillon in just a second here, but I wanted to touch on. You had an interview in the USA Today earlier in the week. I was very proud to read regarding your thoughts on racial injustice in the country today. Question one that I really have for you, since that's come out and your initial Instagram post just kind of detailing what I thought very beautifully, you know, how you felt and that you are a man of God as well as your family. How have other NASCAR drivers reacted to your Instagram post and subsequent USA Today interview? Have you had a chance to talk to any other NASCAR drivers? Because even with coronavirus going on right now, it's not like you can just walk up on somebody in a garage. So have you had a chance to talk to other drivers, or have they approached you about your positive comments that you made earlier in the week? And tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, I think right away, obviously Bubba and I, we've done an Instagram live together and just talked about it, and just letting him share his story in life, and just trying to, not only for myself, I want to grow in understanding. Obviously I'm a white male, and I can't truly understand what it's like to have to deal with racism. So I just want to have that conversation with Bubba, who is a leader in our sport. And he was so amazing in explaining his life and the things that he's gone through. And so Bubba and I have had a lot of talks. We've talked probably more, and I've known Bubba since we were both 13 years old, and our careers have paralleled all the way to the top ranks in NASCAR. And the last couple of weeks, we've talked more than we've ever talked, and about real things, which has been so awesome. And over the last couple of days, the conversations have grown, which is so encouraging in our sport, because conversations lead to change, lead to understanding and empathy. And I have, we have a group chat that we all get to talk in. So there's a lot of conversation going on in there. And I'm excited that the feedback has been really good. I think NASCAR's heart is pretty true in this, and the fact that they don't condone racism, hatred, or bigotry at all, and that they're not okay with it. And they have come to us drivers and said, hey, this is where we stand, and we want to move forward as a group, making a difference, not just now, but forever. So there's been a lot of great discussions going on by a lot of true leaders stepping up, as far as saying, hey, we need to make a real difference, not only for ourselves, like our sport truly is it's a sport where it's all about number one, but for once we can make it about other people. So, there's a lot of great things going on behind the doors. And I guess to answer the question, yeah, there's been some really good conversations from other drivers.
That's fantastic to hear. And the reason why I brought up the fact that you are from Louisville, I'm from Kernersville, and anyone that knows this area, Louisville, Walkertown, Kernersville, all these surrounding smaller suburban towns outside of Winston-Salem are all kind of similar in terms of the way they're built. They're very tight-knit communities, regardless if you're black, white, whatever it may be. Obviously, racism and things of that sort exist in pockets out here, but I've always equated good memories and feelings in Kernersville in terms of that kind of camaraderie amongst the town folk. How have you felt watching the news over the past couple of days and seeing the peaceful protests that have been going on all week, as well as some that have gotten out of hand in larger cities? The fact that Winston-Salem is one of the few cities in the entire country that really hasn't had any type of violence or things to take away from the cause, the reason why people are out marching, the reason why people are out protesting. What are your thoughts on Winston-Salem having shown up in that manner nationally really there's only a handful of cities that can say the same thing that Winston-Salem can say currently at this point. How does that make you feel coming from Louisville? And obviously you grew up if you grew up in Louisville, you basically kind of grew up in Winston-Salem. You came in and out of Winston to do things, so you're familiar with the inner workings of the town. How does that make you feel knowing that Winston-Salem has stood up and been kind of a leader in terms of doing the peaceful protest the correct way?
Yeah, that's so encouraging. You know, I think it's a heart condition for everyone with what's going on, and I think protests certainly have to happen. As Martin Luther King said, the protests are the voice of the unheard, and there's a large part of our community that's unheard, and things need to change. And I'm proud to be from Winston-Salem, and I wasn't aware of that stat or what's going on in Winston-Salem. So that's great. And obviously, I think looting and rioting is not okay, but the protests have to happen for change. So that's great to hear. And I know for me growing up in these small town communities, and I didn't see and understand, but also I'm a white man who grew up extremely fortunate and blessed and in somewhat of a bubble in my community. And but for me, that means that I can't just think that that's what goes on in the whole world. And for me, it's enlightening, encouraging others to say, hey, let's figure out why what we see on TV, why we see people upset and crying and in pain because what happened might not make sense to us, but let's find out why. And that's the basis of empathy in life, is saying, I want to understand and I want to hurt with you. I want to understand why you hurt, and I want to feel that hurt too. So I think that's all we can do. I know growing up in a town that does things right, it is certainly wonderful. It's a great city, but we all have to challenge ourselves to understand why the other cities aren't having as easy of a time.
So on the line with Ty Dillon, star NASCAR driver, here on the Pit Stop, that you can catch on sportscarolinamonthly.com. Let's get into some more lighthearted things. One of the things that we typically do on the Pit Stop is our segment called 5 Questions. 5 questions I'm going to ask Ty Dillon that have zero to do with NASCAR, like nothing to do with the car, the track where you're going to be at this week, any of that. Instead, it's really more questions about you as a person, so that the average NASCAR fan or just the average sports fan can kind of get to know Ty a little bit better. So are you ready to rock and roll?
Absolutely.
All right, let's get it going. So 5 questions with Ty Dillon. Question number 1, what is Ty Dillon's favorite movie of all time and why?
Whoa. Favorite movie of all time. I'd have to say, like, that's such a moving target for me and Haley. We like so many movies. Right now, the one that really gets us probably like excited, and we just watched it recently, is The Greatest Showman.
Oh, wow.
It's a great movie. It's not monumental in any way, but it's a fun movie. We're both we love music and singing and dancing, so it gets us pumped up in that way. So it's a musical, and we love it.
I did not expect that as the choice.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Question number 2. After you've been driving in a 300-mile, 400-mile, 600-mile race, what's the go-to meal for Ty Dillon after a long race? What's that one meal that you're ready to devour when you're done on a Saturday or a Sunday night?
That's we had a rough night in Charlotte on Wednesday night, and all I could think about was Haley and I and Oakley went to a bakery that day, and I had a donut waiting for me at home that was just like covered in Nutella and bananas, and I had felt so bad for myself that I was like, I cannot wait to just devour that. So to me, it's any food. I have to restrain myself because especially right now, we're turning around and racing a couple days later, so I can't just go into any food that I want to, like I would love to. I have to be very obedient to my hunger.
Is the Nutella really official like that? I've never really tried Nutella before.
Oh, you don't know what you're missing.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's
All
so
right.
good.
I always pass by it in the grocery store with my youngest daughter. She's 8, and she's always looking at it curiously. And I'm like, that's not chocolate. That's not chocolate. And she'll like put it back down. But I've heard every person I've heard that says something about Nutella, it's like a glowing review. So I'm definitely going to Definitely gonna check
It's
out.
better than chocolate, in my opinion.
Wow, you heard it here first. Ty Dillon,
Yep.
Nutella is better than chocolate. So definitely I'm gonna go and grab a jar here. Question number 3 in our 5 questions with Ty Dillon here on the pit stop. Who was your biggest crush growing up? Television, movies, music. Who was your biggest crush?
Growing up, probably as a kid, would be the Olsen twins.
Nice. Either one, both of them, either, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're twins, so I think they look very similar.
That's fantastic. Question number 4. Speaking of TV, music, movies, what do you listen to get hyped up before a race, or do you listen to music before you have a race? I've had various answers to that question. Some racers listen to nothing, some listen to metal, some listen to country. What kind of music do you listen to get hyped up before a race begins?
It's a little bit of a mix, and certainly lately with no fans there, it's hard to get that adrenaline going. Try to get yourself pumped up and get your mindset focused. So I've been listening to some music, trying to get myself focused, and it's a mix right now between Christian music and also I've got a couple, like actually the Greatest Showman soundtrack is one of them.
Yes.
Justin Bieber's new album gets played a lot in that. It's a good mix of different stuff, but not probably not a whole lot of rock.
You mentioned your lovely wife Haley. Does she kind of help you in terms of your musical taste? Do you guys kind of like the same things, or are you guys kind of different in terms of you listen to certain things and she listens to other things, and it's a battle for the radio when you're in the car together?
Oh no, we pretty much listen to all the same stuff, and she is she'll get mad at me, but she's so musically talented. She's got a beautiful singing voice and can pick up an instrument, and I feel like and be really great at it in a short amount of time. So she's the musical liaison. She makes fun of me because I can't really carry a tune, but I try more often. I'm probably the loudest in our house as far as singing, and our daughter Oakley is following right in my footsteps. She's got more rhythm than me.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That's usually the way it works out. The one that can't sing is the loudest. So that's usually typically how it goes down. Question 5 in our 5 questions with NASCAR star Ty Dillon. Ty, if you weren't a NASCAR driver today, what profession do you think you would be in today?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I have a huge love for NFL and football. That was the sport that I thought I was going to be playing in at first, and I got outgrown by everybody I was playing with.
That happens.
Yeah, so I have a massive passion for NFL and the personnel side of it, general manager side, the business sides of that sport. So player development and all that, I'm really into it. And who's to say when I can't turn a steering wheel anymore, I might not try to do something like that. So there's always time, I think, for a couple dreams in life.
I really appreciate you coming on, Ty Dillon, here on the pit stop here with Sports Carolina Monthly. Anything you want to add there? Something that people might not know about you that might be something not necessarily strange, just something that people may not know about you that you might want to throw out there.
Let's see.
For the fans. And if there's nothing, you don't have to give anything.
Yeah, I don't really have anything too crazy.
Well, hey man, I'm very happy. NASCAR is one of the few sporting leagues that's been able to kind of sort of figure this out. And by all intents and purposes, over the past couple of weeks, you guys are really starting to roll. You guys have a good plan in place in terms of making sure crews and drivers and pits are clean, and you guys are getting tested, and everything's going on. And now it's like the NASCAR season is on steroids in terms of not having to wait a week to get to a race. You guys are popping off every 2 or 3 days, it feels like right now. So definitely good to see. I know the sports world needed something out there, and NASCAR is definitely trying to fill the void. I really appreciate you coming on the pit stop, Ty.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for having me.